last session of the day is the panel. If you just bear with us a few minutes while we just set up the chairs, and we're delighted to welcome on stage three talented athletes and ambassadors for the Romanian community, so looking forward to this session. Right folks, just to show you how talented my wonderful Romanian colleagues are, I said to them they'd like me to ask them any questions in particular, but actually they're so confident they feel able to talk amongst themselves around some of the key topics that are prevalent, particularly in terms of athlete transition and development opportunities. So without further ado, we've obviously had George on before, so he's a welcome member of our family returning for the second session. But the other two, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, when the mic actually makes its way around to you. Over to you, Jeff.
Thank you. Okay, first of all, when I thought that speaking in public is the most powerful thing you can do, then I realized that you can speak in public in English. It's like opposite. My name is Toma Nicolau. I'm 20 years old. I'm born in Ioan in Moldova, Romania. I was a professional football player since the age of 21. Then all of a sudden I realized that I could write really good, and I started sports blogging as an alternative career. After that, after like 7 or 8 years of sports blogging, I managed to quit dreaming about becoming a professional football player and having the career like George had. It's my responsibility today to honor this panel instead of Howard, so I'd like to talk to both of you after Ioan also does this presentation about how can a Romanian athlete, because we're talking about the local market, how can a Romanian athlete follow a short sports career, even though we talk about management or marketing or maybe training or coaching or any of those. So first I'd like to introduce yourself and then we'll get to talk.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation to Sport Business Chain. What an honor. As I think I am the only pro athlete who made it to the panel today, I apologize for my attire, but some things you have to do for sponsors, don't you? My name is Ioan Achiriloaie. Everybody calls me John for short, even in Romania, so just feel free. I was a student at Coventry University. I got lost in a brief moment in time when I decided to stop skiing, but then I got back into the game. One of the best decisions I ever made. I am a member of the Romanian national ski team and of my club Corona Brașov. I'm representing my country at the highest level. That's the Alpine Skiing World Cup for who follows that sort of thing. I know you're more into football here, but let's move to the winter sport for just a sec if you will bear with me. And today, I think me and my colleagues will talk about the transition of an athlete, where an athlete goes, what he does after his athlete career. I'm going to try to emphasize and talk to you about what I think I should do, what I'm gonna do, and where is my standing at the moment in the sport And I would also like to make the comparison a bit between the civilized countries, if you want, the ones who actually have a rich sport culture, and the Romanian culture, who is not as vast, but I'm sure we'll get onto that. Thank you.
And end up with the first years of their life dedicated to sports, but don't have a way to move on. So, Giorgio, can you talk from your experience about this? And if you can, I don't know, maybe draw some lines and find some solutions.
Okay, I will try to answer that, and please, you should continue with that, because you are one of the examples, you know, on reconverting from football or from sports to something else, and this is not easy to do. Beside my presentation earlier, and beside what people know about me, I'm also having an NGO who's taking care of sport and culture in Romania. It's called Giorgio Garau for Culture and Sport. We had several activities, and we were forced to have these activities. We actually wanted to make the nice activities, you know, in which you just go in schools and bring children and encourage them to study, to be prepared for a second plan, right? But then we end up by doing activities for Down syndrome children, because it had to. They were not allowed in school, so we had to make a little bit of a lobby for that. And using our connection with football, we came actually into the football field, to a final, to be more visible. It didn't change too much after that, but we still tried. I became, at a certain point, the vice president of Provita for born and unborn children, who's taking care of 430 orphans, because I had to do that. You know. And we had some nice projects with the Ajax Foundation, and I also took advantage of the collaboration that I had with Ajax and the experience that I had over there, and what I've seen that Ajax is doing in the community. Try to transform it a little bit over here and put it in place. And recently, this year, I organized, together with my wife Andrea, who's a specialist in that, a charity game where my best friend, the Romanian people know him, Mihai Neșu is his name. He was my colleague, my roommate. He broke his neck in short lines to a training. Paralyzed, struggling, fighting with life for 5 years. We organized a charity game for him, collected funds, and bringing all the Romanian football players, famous Romanian football players, but also his friends, on the field. Also showing to the people that they need to stay together and they need to support each other. Because it can happen that today you're a famous football player or sportive, but the next day you're nothing. Or you cannot do anything with your body. But as long as you are strong inside, then you can do a lot of things from that position. And he's having a foundation himself right now. He's taking care of more than 100 children on his condition or worse. So these are the examples that we wanted to bring into the reality and make it known for the people. And I was forced to do that. I didn't train myself to do that, and I didn't prepare also while I was playing, you know, what I'm going to do afterwards. What happens with the youngsters in Romania is that they don't have a second plan, and they don't have maybe sometimes the guidance, and some of them they're lucky to have some parents who will support them in going to school. And here is often it happens that if you go to football, okay, and if you're a little bit talented in football, that's it, and nothing else is important. All the money in football, and if you collapse, and if you get injured, or if you don't make it, then the big problem comes. So, yeah, the parents are very important. Also, the relatives, the friends, maybe a good manager who will just give you the good advice. Even if you make it as a football player, even if you go there, if you go to the top, and you make a living out of this, or a fortune, what happens after? You know? So you have this, you need this guidance. You need this guidance.
While you're talking, I was thinking about my own colleagues who I grew up with. I went to a sports high school, like any county in Romania has a sports high school. So we were 31 guys in the same class. Our football teacher was also our I don't know the word. It was our school counselor, and he always made our classes so we can always go to practice. And while you were talking, I was thinking about some of my colleagues who were more talented than I was, or more talented than the guys I knew who still play football, and realized that sometimes making it or having a career in sports has nothing to do with talent, but more with opportunity and like having a clear lane up to the senior level. And I don't think this is fair, because somewhere the system is doing something wrong. Without knowing any studies, I can vouch that I think more than 90% of youth players don't get into senior level without dropping out. And this is actually in a team sport is more common. But you, John, you do an individual sport. Can you tell us from your experience? You grew up. I don't believe you trained alone. I think you had like a lot of youngsters your age who trained with you. How many of them are still practicing skiing on a professional level? And if not, what are they doing now for a living?
How many? Including me, one.
Yeah, I expected that.
But talking about my particular sport, skiing, you only earn money from that when you're at the very best in your country, and maybe not even then, because it's an elite sport, it's a very, very costly sport. I mean, for myself, right now, to have a proper season with everything and anything that I need, I would need 70,000 euro, at least, which, talking football money, is not enough, but it's not a lot.
Per year or
per year?
Per year.
Per year. And not even considering to earn any money. Any money I ever earned from skiing, I put back into skiing, and that's only because I had a family which allowed me to do that, if you understand what I mean. And the problem in skiing, other problems in skiing, is that at least in football, more or less, I hope you agree with me, George, we have the know-how. We have a good coach's education, we have some base. The pyramid is starting somewhere. In skiing, we don't have that. I mean, just talking about how you create an athlete. For instance, in Germany, to become a proper ski coach takes 6 years of education. It's like medicine school, right? In France, the same, depending. It can take 3 years to 5 to 6. In Romania, if tomorrow is my last race, I'll go have a shower, the next day I'm a coach. So in Romania, it only takes a shower. I don't want to be rude or mean in any way, it's just that the system will not allow you to grow up professionally, tactically and technically at a level which gives you real perspectives. And that is my sport's biggest problem today.
Let's see, from the people who are in the audience, I want to see a raise of hands from all of you who, during high school or during your first years of life, you went to do a professional sport. Please. About half, right? How many of you continued after finishing high school? Okay.
Okay, even few. How many are doing it today? Just one? Two? Oh, you're still in high school, that's why. Okay, you finished college. So this is what I'm talking about. And I'm sure all of you had the same power inside to finish and to make something of it, but it's a problem. And to be honest, when I started blogging, I was 21. I was still playing at the time. I was playing for Juventus Bucharest. I never knew that this could be an opportunity for me. I started blogging as fun. And I realized that I could do this after one of my first 5 articles went viral on Romanian Online. But still, I couldn't believe it at the time. I didn't know. I didn't know how to manage the situation because my plan was to. I was a student at Sports and Physical Education College, and I wanted to be a soccer coach. That was my next step to my failed career as a football player. And I think I'm still the only football player with a blog in Romania. I don't know if there are any, but I want to talk. I want to talk about college opportunities in Romania. I want you to tell me when was the first time you realized that you could do football as a job? How old were you? What was the mindset at the moment? I don't think that was the question, you know, because all my youth education, I was thinking only about that, just to become a football player. I was lucky enough to get there. The problem was when I made the step from youth to the professional, because it was a gap of 1 year in which I had to go travel somewhere in Italy, because apparently someone from there thought I'm good enough, while the team that educates me till the senior stage now was saying different. They were not showing interest, and when they showed interest, they were like, okay, oh, they want to buy you, why? Maybe you're good enough. So they brought me here, they obliged me to stay in the team, you know, calling me to the national team. All of a sudden, in my youth career, I've never been to the national team, the youth national team.
Did you have an agent at the time?
No, I didn't have an agent. I didn't want to have an agent. I thought I can do it on my own. So in this period, you know, when I've seen myself at 17 years old, almost 18, going abroad, I was thinking, what's happening? What's going to happen in the future? What I'm going to do next? Because all my life was football. I was not focused on anything else. Of course, I was going to school and I was passionate about languages, but I didn't prepare for something, and I didn't have so many friends that can say, okay, well, you will do that. Yeah, you will do blogging, or you will do I don't know, some sort of a business or something. So it was a little bit of a panic. Luckily, then all turned well for me, and I made my debut and continued my career. I don't think, Ioan, because you said that in Romania, the base in sports football is well done. I only see now one academy in Romania who have good education, and they have trainers well educated that travel around and take information and put it in their academies, making a plan. And I think this is the biggest problem. I think the problem is that now in this conference, it should be full of people from sport interested in all these ideas that are shared over here. You know, all this knowledge. This is gold. This is something that you cannot miss. Now it should be full of press, sports press, who should make interviews and with all these people and then give ideas. You know, from the minister, from a lot of people who just should show interest for sport, because sports, or a country without sports, with the values that sports are giving, it's a poor country. You know, it doesn't have a bright future. So, in my opinion, this is the biggest problem that we have over here. You know, people who are not open in developing. Because if you want to develop, if you really want to develop, if you really care about the future, then you should care about the education, you should care about those children or those sportives who can be idols or who can be examples. And it's so simple on doing it. We had our guests here and the speakers and showing it how you can create a phenomenon, and then how can you also transform it into money, yeah, into companies, and to make a big thing out of it. But it needs to happen, you know, with people. But people are not reacting, and the lack of react. This is the biggest problem I see it over here.
I have a question for both of you, and then you can continue this discussion because I like where this is going. George, I'd like us to tell, please tell us what should a sports agent look like, and what should he do to help his athlete. John, because you're doing an individual sport, I want you to tell me how important is a brand who can support your I don't know, your payments or all the things you spend on doing your sport, and if from the brands you work with, they use this strategy as a communication method.
I think an agent should be honest. You know, you should just go to the player and say, listen, I'm here, I'm contacting you because I want to make money, but I also want to make you with money. I have experience, I have connections, this is how it's going to work. Most of the agents will say, you know what, I like your character. Even if it's the first time you meet him or you have seen him only on the TV, that can be a sign for the player just to back off, to stay away, to be informed on who's going to approach you. Sometimes agent can bring you into trouble. And in Ajax, we have a special program where children, together with their parents, they have a presentation about what the agents should look like, you know, what is their purpose and how to collaborate or to avoid. I think it's very important. Sometimes the players tend to think, or the parents of parents or players tend to think that an agent will solve the career. If the player is good enough, he's going to solve it. Now it's like oil and water. But you need someone to give you the guide, to tell you to make the good decision, maybe to negotiate a contract for you. Now you, as a player, can negotiate, you know, being directly involved, or the parents, they will be emotional, involved in that negotiation. It's not going to work always good. Not all the parents have these tools of negotiations. So in this way, he can help you, or he can speak to another club where he has connections to make a bigger step. We have a problem in Ajax, and that is that sometimes players, when they are 16, yeah, they are approached by Manchester United or Chelsea because they are really, really talented. And as I told you already, a player last week, which I trained personally, Ryan Gravenberg, made his debut in the first team of Ajax with 16. How many clubs in Europe will give you that opportunity? But they will approach you, they will offer you a contract, they will offer 50,000 pounds a month for you to go over there. And some parents will just take it and will accept it. And some will say, you know what, you will just stay here, you will make your debut, and 2 years' time, then you will go and you will have double, triple, or and you will make a career. Players, and I don't want to offend the English competition, it's a challenge, and challenges makes you think and come with plans. You want to take the best, but you will not offer them a place in the first team. And you know that, but you still want to have them, you know, because it's value. And this is what they have to realize. It's difficult, it's more difficult to make your debut in a Spanish championship, to Barcelona and Real Madrid. And I spoke with our colleague earlier on, who also made his youth education in Real Madrid, which I think is fantastic. It's difficult, but Ajax gives you that stage, gives you that opportunity. And a good agent will say, just stay in Ajax. Just stay in Ajax and make your debut over here. And if you will go to Real Madrid or Barcelona or Manchester or Chelsea.
First of all, continuing what we were talking to Georgia before, I completely agree with you. I didn't expect it, but I hoped I would come here today and the room would be filled with people from the federations, from the Olympic Committee, from the sports minister, from all the sports organizations in Romania combined to try to learn something and move together. As we can see, just a few of them answered this fine people's call, and that's the start of our problems. But regarding, again, my sport, and not to be selfish, I'm not going to talk about myself, I'm going to talk about my colleague, the lovely lady there who raised her hand when you ask her who is still doing sport. She is 22 years old. She was in the Olympics. She was 28, 36. And in alpine skiing, for 22 years old in the speed disciplines, that's phenomenally young. We're talking about a sport where you reach your best, the best performance, excuse me, when you're around 28, 29. The potential is there, the potential is huge. She put her life on hold. She finished her studies, but she put her life on hold to continue this. The skiing season starts in June, it finishes in May. Talking about dryland training, about ski tests, about anything what you can imagine. It's more or less the same in any sport. We are now at the end of September, so that's, we can say we're already more than 3 months into the season. She still doesn't know, nor do I for that matter, if we're still gonna get finance from the federation. We're talking about athlete transition from an athlete to something, to the next step, right? We don't even know our projection for this year. This, I'm trying to emphasize what is one of our biggest problems in Romania. I'm sure it's not only in alpine skiing. I'm telling you about alpine skiing because it's what I know best. But that, I think, is one of the biggest problems in Romania when we think about an athlete's transition. We can, I think, you can tell me some examples in football. I think if anybody is from any other sports here can tell us examples about their sports and so on.
I had a colleague in college who was a professional skier like you, and now we're keeping in touch on Facebook, and he's a ski instructor for kids in a resort somewhere in Romania. I think that's the top he can do based on the resources available. So that's kind of sad. That makes me sad a little bit.
Or leave the country.
Or you could leave the country, yeah, because Europe is now like a big country, so we can say that. Even though Romania is an Eastern European country, and we're kind of on the side of all the pro sports, so I can say.
Yeah, leaving the country, I think, is the worst solution for the country, not for the person. I left.
I thought you were gonna say it's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's the smart thing to do for a football player if he wants, for a sportsman if he wants to go to the next step, and here he cannot do it. I think this is the right step. Okay, you go to the next step and you make a career, but the end line should be back home. Yeah, and share your knowledge and be involved and create something over here. I always tempt, just to say it's done. I'm gonna stay here, and here means Holland. And now for many years, I'm every summer, together with my family, we're recalculating. Okay, what we're gonna do? We're gonna stay here. We're gonna come back to Romania. Our wish is to come back to Romania and put here our knowledge. And this summer we said, okay, we're going to stay here. So my plan, because one of the questions is what is the plan? My plan is to come back to Romania and to make maybe a football academy over here. To bring all the knowledge I gather and bring it into the Romanian football. Yves was just here and he said, yeah, just contact me. I think I'm going to contact him for 4 projects I have in mind, and I was looking forward for someone who will say, you know what, I think I need you and I need your knowledge, and I'm going to help you doing that. And I think this is the purpose of all these sportsmen who made career, or all the persons who went abroad and took the knowledge and made career to come back and raise the country. And we have here Cosmin and Teodora, and we have some other examples as well of people who were just understand what is their purpose and understand what is the need of the country as well, and come and implement it over here. So that's my plan.
Have you said this plan out loud anytime?
Yeah, now.
This is the first time? Okay, so you've heard it here first. And, I can top that and say I'll work for you free anytime. I already did that. Last year actually last year, I went back to Piatrăneamț, lived there for a year. I played for Jahlău Piatrăneamț again. I'm not sure if you know Jahlău is the same situation as they are in right now. They started from the bottom again, from the 5th league 2 years ago. And this year we got up to the 3rd league, and I started playing there again, and I offered my services as a marketing and communication manager pro bono, and I did that for a year on my own expense. And I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed giving back to the city I was born, and to the youth club that gave me all my ethics and my values today. We have 10 more minutes, and I'd like to use these 10 minutes to make the dynamic grow. I'd like to have some questions from the audience. We won't take no for an answer, so please give us some questions. Both for John, yes. Georgie. You want to ask us something?
No, I was going to, but he answered.
Okay. Any questions?
Well, I would like to know.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I would like to know more about the challenges you had after your career and starting something new. To tell us a bit more about the challenges you come. Who are the people that stand close to you, the ones that you learn from and help you? I'm very interested in. Yeah.
Okay. So, John. Let's adapt this question for you. You're gonna grow to be of an age where you cannot do it as a pro anymore. What's next?
Talking about, also answering kind of what Georgia said before. A few years ago, I made a project in writing. It's called the project of my life. Short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, right? The long-term goal was to come back in Romania, and still is in this moment, to come back to Romania and bring alpine skiing to another level. But for that, I have to see what opportunities arise when the moment comes that I'm finished with my career. Normally, my projection is for the next 4 years at least, but that may not be possible. I'm sure that changing a system that doesn't work, talking about my sport, it's gonna take a lot of work, a lot of fighting, if you will, hopefully not practical fighting, just theoretical. And you need to bring something new, and you need to make the people understand that you're doing a good job. And I think the best way I can do this at the moment for my future goal is to be a good athlete, to be a good person, to show Romanian kids who do ski that it is possible to get to a good level in alpine skiing, and that we can do that only if we forget some things and start from zero with some others.
I think the biggest challenge is the system, and the solution are the people. I think that if you have a nice story and you know how to tell it and to convince people, in the end your plan and your project is going to work. I met Haji. I mentioned his name many times today, and I hope I'm going to say it a couple of times more, because this is an example of someone who just realized I have to show it. I did it as a football player, I'm going to show it how it's done. Even though everybody is saying, no, it's not going to happen, it is not possible, it's not going to work, I'm going to show it. And he was stubborn enough to do it, and he had success with it. But he believed in his plan, his story. And I remember we met I was playing a game against Inter Milan. After the game, it was in Amsterdam. It was the Amsterdam tournament in August. I remember 8th of August. He came after the game together with Mourinho. At the time, he was a trainer. And we met at the table, and he told me, you know what? I'm going to make a soccer academy. I'm going to make a football academy in Romania, and I'm going to make it so big that I'm going to compete with Ajax. And I was like, yo, good luck. Because I knew all the difficulties that he's going to have, and he knew it as well. But he believed so much in it, and he had a plan, and he had a structure, and he convinced the people that he have spoken with him, his sponsors, his personal sponsors, to help him on doing that, until he had success. He made prophecies, that some of the prophecies are real before the ending of that period. You know, he said, I'm going to have in 2022, he said, Vali, 2020, I'm going to have more than half of the national team players from my own academy. And he's having now more than half of the national team players from his academy, and it's now 2020. And 40 players from his academy are playing in the youth teams of the national team of Romania. Because he believed in it, because he trained, because he worked hard. He's every day on the pitch, every day over there. He's controlling and he's helping the trainers to understand what he's thinking, to put that into reality, even though the system didn't allow it.
In this case, though, we must not forget his heart. He's a brand. He's world renowned. It's easier to build something like this when you're cutting than when you're cutting, right?
I think so, yeah. I think Karina, yes.
I think this conference is in its entirety very helpful to athletes who obviously have not shown up, because it teaches you how to become a brand and then how to have a career based on the brand you build. But what we are fighting here with is the lack of education, and it comes from school, it comes from the coaches who are supposed to create quality and not just look for quantity and say, oh, my academy has like 1,500 players, but you do not deliver that one for the national team. So, are you valuable or not?
Yeah, of course.
The amount of money is bigger than, you know, what having a player in the national team actually represents. So, how can we tackle this?
Yeah, education. Who will offer that education? Who is responsible for that education? The educators themselves, or the organization who should make those teachers learn and teach and deliver the products? I think that's the problem. In the Romanian Football Federation, it was very easy to have the diploma till 5, 6, 7 years ago. You had the pro license diploma. You had so many trainers with pro license diploma without having 2 years of school or 3 years of school, which is normal. So that's a problem. And I speak only for the football. And I think in other sports it's maybe the same. And you have to be a self-educated trainer yourself in order to be able to create something. You know, it's not enough being a handball player or a skier or a football player, being a trainer. It's different kinds of. I think someone has to teach you that. how to do, how to make a plan, how to go from A to B. It doesn't go by itself. You have the instinct, but you don't know how to teach it. You know? I cannot say to a 10 years old, you know what, I'm going to show you how it's done. It's not going to work. I have to teach him something in steps so he can understand it. But if I don't know the steps, how can I teach that to him?
Yes, but for this one I'm going to give you the mic, okay?
Okay, thank you for your answer. So we now have managed to educate our trainers. They're perfect. We deliver, say we're in the process to deliver quality. But then we encounter our club manager who wants results right away. I've given you 6 months and you did not deliver. How much more time you need? And I cannot explain to him, maybe you need 4 Olympic cycles because that's out of everyone's mind. So just give me 1 Olympic cycle. That's 4 years, right? You say, what do you want? Why do you need so much time for? This is basketball or handball or football. 1 year of work or 6 months should be enough. You need to deliver. And my team needs to win now, not in 4 years.
It happens a lot in Romanian football, I can say that. There are the owners who are just saying, you know what, I don't need an academy, I need you as a coach just to deliver results. And this is a way of leading a club, right? But how does this way of leading will be sustainable in time? Yeah, that's a matter of maybe years. And I've said earlier in my presentations that many of the clubs, they won the championship here in Romania and disappeared in 4 years' time, even though they collected 10 million euros from the Champions League, right? What happened? Yes, that happened. They had owners, they had, and Ajax, for example, I will always give this as an example, doesn't need one owner, doesn't want one owner, even though maybe, for sure, Middle East, they have interest and they have money and they will explain you how you can grow and you can compete with Barcelona and with Real Madrid, and if you have a budget of 200 million, for example, instead of 100 million. But do you really want that? Or you want to be successful in your way of being, of educating, investing in players, and being on the market #1 on producing football players and creating a future.
Okay, I don't want to disappoint anyone, but we're out of time. So I saw last hand raised who had a... Okay, last question, but please make it as a question that can be answered in like 30 seconds, okay? Thanks.
For George, thank you for the presentation. You previously mentioned something about the kids in the academy that they are approached by clubs, European clubs like Chelsea. How can Ajax tackle this problem for the kids to convince them to stay in the Ajax academies with this struggle? How can Ajax tackle this problem?
The only thing you can do is just to have a talk with them, with their parents, to show them what is the plan, and to show the examples that you already have. Yeah, the live examples you have in your club. You can show all these players who made their debuts by 16, 17, 18, and who were also approached by other clubs. And you can give the bad examples as well of players who left Ajax, for example, when they were 17, and then now they're playing somewhere in the second division of Holland, because they went to Arsenal and they didn't make their debut over there. They didn't play even one friendly game, let's say, and they got injured, and then their career was a disaster, and now they're playing in second division. Or some players who are just rent out from the mother club to some other countries, small clubs, and they are not making their dream come true. I think this is the only thing you can do. You cannot offer them the same money. You don't have the same budget, so you cannot compete, with them in this way.
Thank you very much, folks. Before you three gentlemen leave the stage, I'm going to introduce Cosmin Albu, one of the co-founders, who's just going to give the awards. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance here at Sport Business Chain. Look forward to seeing you here tomorrow at 9 o'clock sharp. I think people are doing various things tonight, resting at the hotel, walking around Bucharest, maybe going to a dinner. I think the odd person's catching a Dinamo match tonight. Whatever you're doing, please be safe, and look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Wine tasting is outside on the terrace now, and ready and waiting for you. Thank you.